Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ohio State Primetime here at the Voice of College Football. I'm your host, Garrison Gaddy. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also, be sure to check out our website at www.vocfb.com, where you can check out all the hosts and writers that we have here at the Voice of College Football, and also check out the weekly schedule that we have here for our own channel here at Ohio State. And also for friends, family, or foes, you can also check out the other channels that we have, whether it be the Team Up North, North Carolina that we just added, Oregon, Oklahoma, Texas, my guy Matthew Miller. We have it all here for you. If you just happen to miss out on the channel, on the live show here on YouTube, you can also check us out on all audio streaming, whether it be Spotify, Apple, or Amazon. And now let's get to the show. Now, shout out to my guy, Cleveland Michaels. So smash that like button. So please do that on the way in here if you could. And again, anything that's monetarily, guys, we appreciate it. But the only thing we truly ask for here is that you hit that like button, that you subscribe to the channel. Now, big news coming out of Columbus. Ohio State, we make a new hire, and it's pretty late here in the season. Ohio State and Texas play in a couple weeks here, which was great to hear. Now, it seems like every time the season ends, the only thing I can look forward to, and I'm sure you feel the same way, is just for the season to start back up, right? And for us Ohio State fans, and even the Texas fans, it starts out really early for us. We have a top 3 matchup, in which we will talk about later here in the show on the AP poll. But Ohio State adds a new coach, Josh Boyer, who recently, look, was I expecting this? No. Am I happy about this? Yes. Josh Boyer, a little bit of history for him, for all those that don't know. From 2020 to 2022, he was a Dolphins defensive coordinator. He actually had his first year there. He had the number 6 defense in the NFL. And then after that, there's somewhere he was, I think, about 16th and 23rd, but that was a lot of other reasons that happened. But he's been a really good defensive mind in the NFL. But prior to that, in 2019 for the Dolphins, he was the defensive pass game coordinator and cornerbacks coach. Now, what's the big reason why he's here in Columbus? Well, that's because he has a history with defensive coordinator Matt Patricia. They spent about 10 years together over there in New England, where from 2006 to 2018, Josh Boyer had been an assistant defensive backs coach and cornerbacks coach. He's from Heath, Ohio. So listen, he's Ohio born and bred, which, Ryan Day, he said that he's a great fit, and he's a culture fit. Said he was around the team during the spring. And actually, earlier today, I was listening to Ryan Day talk to the media, and he spoke about how, he had a coach that was there during that time. And he said that, there was a coach that said that he had a really good team. And said, the team is, of course, different from last year's, but he said this is still a good team that he sees on the field with a lot of talented players. And I can't confirm this. This is just a hunch for my coming out of me, but I think that might have been Josh Boyer. But again, he spent some time around the team in the spring, and they thought he'd be a great asset to the coaching staff. Matt Patricia said that while they were in New England, while he was a defensive coordinator, because of course Matt stayed on the field every single year, he said those are his eyes in the press box. Those are he said that he was the support from above. And I really think that, but mind you, Ryan Day also said that he's going to also help him out offensively. And I'm not sure what that really entails. I'm sure he's going to get into it as the coming weeks coming, or even during the season, we're going to get more information on that. But, I think this is a great hire. I really do. I think that Ryan Day, what I love so much about what he's been doing over the past few years is that, and leading into this season, and I posted about this on X, is that he's putting up a lot of guardrails around his coordinators. I spoke plenty of times about Brian Hartline, that when you look at him being a new OC, and though he's been around the program for 9 years, he's been part of the pass game as a pass game coordinator with Ryan Day, not really calling plays. This will be the real first time he's been able to do that. But you look at what he has. Of course, you have the talent that Ohio State has, but you also add in Tyler Bowen, who new offensive line coach here for the Buckeyes. But Tyler Bowen, he previously has been able to call plays. He's been a run game coordinator. I think that's really important, especially for a guy like Brian Hartline, who, I would assume that his forte is going to be the pass game. It would make sense, with him being the wide receivers coach and also with Ryan Day being the big pass guy that he is. But he also got to learn from Chip Kelly off of last year, who I believe Chip Kelly is one of the most innovative and greatest offensive coordinators in not just college football history, but in football history. Just based on we've been able to see what he did when he was at Oregon. And then you look on the defensive side, where Matt Patricia, look, he's a 3-time Super Bowl winner. There's not much that really needs to be said about Matt Patricia. Even though some people do like to, discredit him just because he was under Bill Belichick, and then you look at what he did prior to that with the Jets, and then also the Lions. But I can care less about any of that. The guy still has 3 Super Bowl rings as a coordinator. Less than 1% of coaches can say that in NFL history. But you look at that, and you keep the position coaches in staff. You still have Larry Johnson, you still have James Laurinaitis, who we're going to talk about later. Also, you still have Coach Walt. You still, you have Gary Airy, who got a promotion this past season. There's people rave about him all the time. They say, Coach Walton always says that he's a really great defensive mind, also in his young career. But you do that, and then you decide, late. I guess you could say late in the offseason, then early going into the season, you bring in one of his guys. You're bringing someone that he has a rapport with and someone that he truly trusts. And with Matt Patricia, usually always being on the field, and also, the assistant defensive coordinator being OG Walt, and he's going to be on the field also. I think it makes a lot of sense for you to have somebody up in the booth. And so I'm really excited to see that. I'm really excited to see what he could possibly bring to the Buckeyes. Again, Ryan Day, I think that he's creating something special here at Ohio State, not just off the field, but when you look at what he's doing on the field, it's great. I think Ryan Day right now, not just with the players, but also with his coaching staff, I think he's becoming one of the better CEOs in this sport, and he's learned from some of the greatest. Like I said, Chip Kelly, Urban Meyer. These are all guys that I think are highly respected. They are highly respected in the game of football. So yeah, look, Josh Boyer joins the staff. Really excited to see what all is going to come from that. We have a lot. I don't want to spend too much time on this because we have a lot to talk about. A lot here that's on my mind. And to be honest with you, I took maybe 4 things off and I'm just going to save it Thursday for everyone that joins the call-in show, which, by the way, 7:00 on Thursday, be there. But we can all talk about that and hear what you guys have to say. Real quick here, shout out to Doreen. She is in here, everybody. Hope if you guys didn't get a chance to, go ahead and check out the Ladies of College Football or her and her and Minnie on every Sunday at 9:00. Doreen, I was so mad because I was at work that Sunday, so I popped in really late. I did put that on my watch later list. So I'm probably gonna watch that tonight. To be honest with you, because I truly want to see what you guys are talking about. I'm sure I saw that a few people called in too, so shout out to them. I also saw that people we got some memberships on there. So everybody, if you haven't already, go check them out. If you'd like to become a member, make sure you click on the join under their videos. And also, if you would like to become a member here at the Voice of College Show for the Ohio State channel, go ahead and do the same here, where you can check out our tiers, which is the Block O Club. JT wasn't short because we all know that he wasn't. And then we don't give a damn, and you know the rest. So everyone, a few people. Oh yeah, my boy Richie's in here. Oh man, Richie joined the chat. Everybody, Richie, man, good to see you in here, my brother. Good to see you in here. By the way, Richie, you gotta start calling in, man. You can't just call into Michigan shows. This is your home. I'm your brother. Come on, come on. You know better. You know better. But let's get to this. A lot to talk about here. Ryan Day met with the media today, everybody, and had a lot to talk about. Truly, there was a lot of good information that I thought he came out with the scrimmage that the Buckeyes just recently had. And by the way, everybody, if you want to know what we're talking about, you can look at the bottom of the screen where all the topics are that we'll be talking about. Talking about Day right now. Also, Jake Butt, when he had to say about the Buckeyes, he was really glowing about the Buckeyes, and also talk about the AP Top 25 that dropped earlier today. So Ryan Day spoke to the media. He talked about the scrimmage and what came out of there, and I have a lot of bullet points here, so we're gonna get right to it. So, I'm really happy first off that Ryan Day he didn't give a bunch of coach speak. He didn't just talk glowingly about the players of the team or the coaches. He said things to get fixed and addressed. And I'm not surprised by that. And it's really I'm really happy to hear that out of Ryan Day because coming off of a national championship season, you would think that for some people, oh, is there going to be complacency that sets in? Everyone's just happy with what's going on around the program. No, not at Ohio State. I've always said as a fan, what separates Ohio State fans, what separates us from other fan bases, that as soon as we get one championship, my first thought is, okay, well, how do we get the next one? And it seems like that's the same thing that's going on right now in Columbus. And so next, he says, the execution needs to improve on this team. Ryan Day, he is a perfectionist. He's always been that way. He's if since he's been a coach of the Ohio State, the number one word that he always uses is consistency, especially with his quarterbacks, which we'll talk about here soon also. But yeah, execution needs to improve. He said a lot done, but a lot to do. If I had to guess what he's talking about there, I think it mostly has to do with the quarterbacks. Probably also with the defensive line, even though he has some good things to say about those guys also, which we'll say right here. He said that with Edric Houston, being in and out of the line, in and out of practice right now, he got a little nicked up with his ankle the week prior. Of course, he is healthy, but he said that other defensive tackles have shown flashes with Houston being in and out. And as of right now, what they're trying to figure out is who can take the bulk of those snap counts and who can show consistency, as we said earlier. Excuse me. On this team, of course, we have Tom Malone, Jason Moore, Will Smith, and Eric Menza, also a young guy who's been showing some flashes also on the defensive line. And right now, I think this is more, I think, something that I'm looking forward to hearing more about, even more so than the quarterback position, because the quarterback position is going to work itself out. But with Ohio State having an early big matchup with Texas, you got to make sure the defensive line is set and ready to go. I don't think that Ryan Day is. I don't think he's really happy with where the defensive line is right now. Of course, he said he was going to have to go into the portal after the spring, and then coming out of it, he said, "Well, there was no one in the portal that he thought was better than the guys that he has already." So you can take that one or two ways, right? One, he knows that there's really good talent in that room, which we all know. On the other side of that, though, man, you still, the fact you still need to go into the portal, you have to see you have to see something come out of it. Guys like Tom Malone was a big addition out of the portal, out of Ole Miss. Guys like Jason Moore, top 100 player out of high school, one of the everybody wanted Jason Moore out of high school. Everybody wanted him. 6'6", 305 pounds. He's a massive man. But you just can't be a big player. You actually got to play big too. So yeah, really happy that he said though that guys are showing flashes. That means that guys are improving out there. Now let's move to the offensive line, which a lot of people are talking about right now, because it comes out that Austin Cerebell, Iron Buckeye recipient, this past spring, or the spring into the fall, this offseason, he was at right tackle. Now he's been moved to left tackle, and Ryan Day said that he's basically just there. That's essentially his spot to lose, and I don't think he's going to lose it. I mean, months and months and months ago, they said that Austin Cerebell is going to start no matter what. So from the left guard, being with Luke Montgomery, who I think is going to be a potential All-American this season, to center with Carson Hensman, who's being a lot of high praise, and I think he's going to be a really good player for us this season. Also, a great player, to be honest with you. It looks like those two spots and wherever Austin Cerebell is going to be is locked up. So the left side of the line is from left tackle to center is booked, which honestly over the last 3 to 4 years has been that's been a thing at Ohio State for some odd reason. The left side of the offensive line has always been set and ready to go. Now at right guard, you have Tegra. And that spot is actually not completely full. I mean, Tegra's been taking some reps at right tackle also. Ethan Anianwa has been taking some reps at right guard. That is actually interesting to me because I think that I've been pretty critical of Tegra over the last few years, or the last couple of years here, especially last year. And I think that when you look at Austin Servo moving to left tackle, and then you look at Ethan Aniawa taking some snaps at right guard, and mind you, I mean, guards are a dime a dozen in football. I mean, left tackles can play guard. Guards can't really play tackle. But I think that because Ethan is a really good athlete, he's good at left tackle. I think that they are repping him there because Ryan Day wants his best five out there. And also, I mean, my guy, shout out to my guy Cleve Mike. We've talked about this plenty of times about how Ryan Day wants his offensive linemen to have primary and secondary positions. And then you get the right tackle where Philip Daniels, transfer guy out of Minnesota, he's been playing his ass off this fall. That's the word on the street. And so now he's been taking most of the reps at right tackle, which I think is one of the reasons why Austin has moved over to left tackle, because they just want him on the field no matter what. So, I mean, if I had to guess right now, and mind you, Ryan Day did say that the starting five, including Tegra, he said those guys are still they're good, they're fine. He also talked about Gabe Van Sickle and Ian Moore out there. And I think Gabe Van Sickle, by the way, he's a hometown guy for me, essentially out of West Michigan. I think he's gonna be a really good player for the Buckeyes. And I mean, last year, Dennis, he said that he's one of those guys that if he's a injury away from being introduced to college football into Buckeye Nation also. But as of right now, if you ask me personally, who I believe could be the best five for the Buckeyes, from left tackle to right tackle, I would tell you Austin Sarabeld, Luke Montgomery, Carson Hinsman, Ethan, and Philip Daniels. Me personally, and it's not that I don't think Tegra is a good player, or it's not that I don't think Tegra could start, right? I think Tegra could start almost anywhere in college football, and out of all the 132 teams there are. But me personally, I think those would be the top five. Those would be the best five. I think that you can do a lot with those guys, and also when need be, you can still play Tegra. It's not like Tegra's an unplayable player. I still truly believe that Tegra is someone that can get on the field and be an impact player for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Moving on, he talked about the quarterbacks. He said that he compared this battle between Lincoln Keenholz and Julian Sand to Dwayne Haskins and Joe Burrow. Back in 2018, when Ryan Day was the quarterbacks coach, and he said, of course, and the reason he made that comparison is because of their skill set. And honestly, I do like that comparison. I mean, when you look at Dwayne Haskins, you look at a guy like Julian Sand, hyper accurate guys, mostly guys that sit in the pocket. I would say that Julian may be a little bit more mobile than Dwayne was, but those are guys that you're looking at them, they're pure passers. Then when you look at a guy like Lincoln Keenholz, comparing him to Joe Burrow, of course, remember everybody, we're not sitting here saying that he's Joe Burrow, but you look at the skill set. I mean, they're guys that can get out of the pocket, they can run. I mean, when Joe Burrow first got to Ohio State, that one of the biggest reasons why Urban Meyer won him is because of the athletic ability that he had. So at the end of the day, I mean, when it comes down to it, and word is, probably hopefully by the end of this week, they plan on finding out who the quarterback is, and it would behoove of them to figure that out because, I mean, listen, we're 2 weeks away here, and with the different skill sets that Lincoln Keenholz and that Julian Sand have, you have to set you had to get that game plan ready. You have to get it ready for Texas. Texas, of course, coming in with one of the best front sevens in college football. One that I believe coming into the season is probably the best front seven. We still got to see what they have at defensive tackle, but shout out to my guy Matthew Miller. He's he's learned me a lot about that team. I think that we can't wait too long. We can't wait too long. I mean, last year we figured out the quarterback position in August 15th, I believe, and today we're looking at August 11th. So yeah, it's coming up close here. We're getting down to the season. We're getting down to the nitty gritty, and that needs to get figured out here soon. Now, when talking about the team just in general, Ryan Day said, the things about, when he was trying to just talk about the team, he said they're edgy, they're competitive. Again, like we said earlier, the coach told him that they look really good and it looks different. Um, I one thing I think about this team. Now, can I say I'm not gonna sit here and like jump off of a limb and say this team is going to be better than last year's team. There's a lot that has to go into that. Now, do I think this team possibly has a higher ceiling? I would say, yeah, I would. I think at linebacker we're going to be better, which we're going to talk about here in the second half of this show. I think at corner we're going to be better. I think at safety, I mean, you have Caleb Downs, and listen, man, it ain't easy. It ain't easy replacing a guy like Lathan Ransom. It is not easy, but I do think the guys that are there right now are will be able to. They have a chance to show and prove that they can be just as good as Lathan. You look on the offensive side, I think the wide receiver unit is going to be better. It's deeper this year. I'll say it's deeper. I think the offensive line is going to be better than it was last season since there were a lot of injuries last year to the offensive line, a lot of mix and matching over there, and thank God, by the time the playoffs came, those guys were able to play really good football. At running back, that's something we still got to see. You when you have two guys like Judkins and Trey Hendo, and by the way, I don't know if you guys caught it, but Travion Henderson's already making a name himself in the preseason here in the NFL. Had took the opening kickoff of the preseason for the Patriots back, and you can still see the flashes. That guy's just a special player. Shout out to Coach Locke for what he did with him. But yeah, like again, edgy and competitive. I think it's a good way to describe this team. When you have a young team, you want to see guys that can go out there and you look like they want to earn something. And I think for this Ohio State team, that's what it looks like. He also said going back to the offensive line, he said that this is the best that the offensive line, like in terms of the position that they're in, this is the best that he's had. This is the best, in terms, especially with the depth that we have at the offensive line. Again, bringing up guys like Ian Moore, bringing up guys like Gabe and Sickle. He's I think that I think for Ryan Day coming into the season, he said that the 5 starting guys are executing at a high level. I think this is the most confident that he's been in an offensive line going into the season. I think last year, I think had they stayed healthy, maybe, I think a little bit different. It doesn't really matter. We still won the national championship. But I think going into the season for 2024, it was still a question mark on what the offensive line could look like, right? So you come to this year, you talked about the confidence of the interior of guys like Tegra, Carson, and my goodness, and Montgomery. They went against Tennessee, Oregon, Texas, and Notre Dame. All four of them have all of them have one of the best defensive lines in college football, especially Texas and Oregon. And they did really well against them. I mean, they mollywopped them. So they come in with that confidence. You're bringing a guy like Ethan out of Rice. Mind you, Ethan was one of the most highly sought transfers out of the portal. And of course, Ohio State got him over the team up north. So and then Philip Daniels also was one of those guys who out of Minnesota who's highly sought after also. So yeah, I think right now Ohio State's offensive line, I've talked about this plenty of times. I think this team is going to be one of the top 5 offensive lines in the country. I think there's a really good chance that this team can win the Joe Moore Award, which would be the first for Ohio State. And the Joe Moore Award is still a relatively new award, but I think there's a really good chance that the Ohio State Buckeyes will be able to win that. Again, I'm bullish on this offensive line. Shout out to my guy Mike. We've talked about this plenty of times. We think they're going to be a really athletic offensive line. We think they're going to be able to get up and upfield really fast. And I think with the running backs that we had this season, guys like C.J. Donaldson, guys like James Peoples and Lamar Bo Jackson, guys that are really athletic, really fast and versatile. I think it's gonna be really big for those guys to do that. And also, I'm hoping that because I did, earlier in the space say on X, I did tell guys on one of my guarantees for the season for the Ohio State Buckeyes was that James Peoples is going to average well over 6 yards a carry, so somewhere between 6.2, 6.5. I just really, really, really have a lot of faith in this offensive line this season, and I can't wait to see what happens with them. Also, he talked about Jermaine Matthews, and he just talked about his development, not just as a player, but him as a young man, and just talk about the maturity that he's developed over the last since he's been at Ohio State. Said that that he's playing with more emotion and not having emotion playing with him. I think that's huge, and we all know Jermaine is a very, very, very competitive individual. He talked about how much he gets on his teammates, but in a good way, make sure that he doesn't let anything slide. Like Ryan Day said that, when something bad happens, he does not let it go. He continues to harp on it. I think that you need guys like that. And Ryan Day said that, it wasn't expected this season, but he is one of the main leaders of this Ohio State team. And he talked about how much he loves this university, how much he loves his teammates, the team, the coaches, and more than foremost, the state of Ohio. And so, when you have a guy like him who's Ohio born and bred, I think it's really important that you hear that of a guy like Jermaine Matthews. And I'm really excited for Jermaine Matthews. 3 years ago, I was there at his first game of the year when he, as a true freshman, he had a pick six. And at that moment in time, and it wasn't a big game, of course, but I said, "Oh no, he's a guy," and I already knew that when he was coming out of high school. But we've gotten to a point here now. I've been calling him one of the best corners on this team for the last 2 seasons, and I'm just as a personal fan of the player and the young man. I'm really excited to hear how he has developed with his maturity. I'm really happy to see that. He says Jermaine's playing with emotion, not having emotion play with him. I can't wait to see what he does this season because I think that he's gonna have a big role in this team, not just on the field but off the field. Well, before we move on, shout out to my guy Sage, Ohio. He right here, everyone right here. He says good show last night to the ring. Again, everybody, if you haven't checked it out, make sure you go do that. I think it's one of the better shows that we have on the channel. I really do. And I'm happy that's blowing up the way it is right now. Shout out to Daniel Henry OHIO. Good to see you in here. Can't wait. Sage Rayer says, I like that the O-line is going to be interchangeable and versatile. I agree. I'm right there with you, Sage. Again, like I said that who I think will be the best starting five. But again, I think guys like Tegra they've been moving Tegra to right tackle. Which tells me that okay, we know Tegra can move around the line of scrimmage. That's good to know. Austin Sarabeld from right guard to right tackle last season, now over to left tackle. And again, Ryan Day said that he's solely playing left tackle right now, which I think says a lot about Austin. A lot of us Ohio State fans, including myself, we didn't have the greatest things to say about Austin Sarabeld last year. We didn't. But as soon as he won the Iron Buckeye Award, that's when it clicked for me as a fan and as someone who loves this team. I said, okay, he's going to be a guy. And then when they said, early in the spring, he's going to start no matter what. Yeah, I think Austin Sarabeld has been one of the fun players to talk about this offseason, lead into the season, because I'm really excited to see what he's going to be. But yeah, man, I'm really excited to see what this offensive line can do. Oh, by the way, Carson Henson was a guard last year. A lot of people think Carson's actually better as a guard than he is as a center. But Carson, of course, he started all the 2023 season, came in the playoffs last year, played his arse off. Yeah, I'm right with you, Sage. Love what this offensive line can do. Doris says Lincoln will go to the SEC and win a Heisman. I listen, man. I mean, if he's not the starting quarterback this season, he's going to probably more than likely transfer the next season because I would assume that Julian was going to stay. But yes, not assume, but Julian would stay because he's a sophomore. But yeah, I mean, listen, Lincoln has a lot of ability, and I think that some Ohio State fans have said it's a bad look or it's a bad thing of Lincoln's up starting. I'm like, guys, he's a really good to elite athlete. He's been at Ohio State for some time now. I think it's smart to assume that Ryan Day and that coaching staff have developed him over these few years. And I can care less about who starts for Ohio State. I support either one of them. And even as a backup, I support them. I think even if Lincoln does not end up being the starter, I still think he's going to be on the field at some point. Oh, Richie says, wonder if the staff is wishing the Aniawa money went to Damon Wilson or Murad Watson. No, I don't think so. I think that Aniawa, the reason that he's moving around is that the reason I think that Aniawa's moved from left tackle is because I think Austin Sarabeld is just that damn good now. I think he's turned a corner, and that when you have someone that's as good as he is, as they're saying he is right now, and he's over at right tackle, it would behoove of you to move him to left tackle. And when you do that, and mind you, then you have Daniel playing as good as he is right now, and they have him solely at right tackle. Now you have Ethan Aniawa. You still want him on the field because chances are he's still one of your best 5, and now he's been getting reps at right guard and right tackle. I think it's the right thing to do. I think right now they're trying to figure out where they want these guys, where they can be most successful at. And I don't think they want that money to go anywhere else. I think that and mind you, Damon Wilson isn't even. If you talking about the defensive end, right? No, he's barely even playing. He's barely even playing. So no, I think we're doing the right thing. I think we're doing the right thing. Like Daniel Henry says, I think they are just pushing Ethan. I'd be shocked if he isn't the right tackle. Yeah, he probably is. I mean, maybe it's coach speak when they talk about Daniel. But at the end of the day, I think that I think they're just trying to figure out where these guys are best fit right now. I think that's what it is. And also, maybe it is pushing him, but I don't think Ryan Day would say that he's solely having. This is my, of course, this is my opinion. I'm not telling you facts, but I don't think that he would solely have Sarabeld at left tackle, let him do nothing else right now if they didn't just want him there to be the player there. But also, you could be right, Daniel. You could be right. Maybe they're trying to push Ethan right now, but I also think that they're just trying to move these guys around. Antonio, I want to make sure I say your name right, but Antonio Duropoulos, I think I'm saying Duropoulos, says, yo, good to see her, OHIO. Eduardo, OH, man, IO to you too. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What's going on, Penn State Sports Talk? Good to see you. Friend of the show. Friend of the show. I'm happy to have you in here too. Let's see. Before we move on. See, I don't want to know what it's like to be ranked number 3. You probably don't, but I'm sure you also want to know what it's ranked to what it'd be like to win a college football playoff championship. It's great. We've done it twice. We've done it twice. Oh man, see, and Johnny, why don't you hype him up on your show, huh? You talk bad about him over there. Hype him up on your show. But good to see you, Johnny. Good to see you, my boy. Oh man. Oh, there we go. Yep, he's off probation. Everybody, he's off probation. Hey, John, you've been on there a few times now. Steve Sexton says Texas D-line going to eat this year. I agree with you. I think Texas D-line is one of the top 5 in the nation. I would say top 3. Actually, I would say top 3. I would say that it's you guys, Clemson, and Oregon. I think those are the top 3 defensive lines going into the nation. Well, everybody, before we continue, a message here from the voice of college football. Get your business, product, service, or personal brand to the next level by partnering with the voice of college football, and let's discuss how you also can reach your target market. The voice of college football is a growing network with a large following, so let's find out how we can help you grow with us. Check out the experience of one of our current partners, that being Win Agency, posted here on the screen, and we are here to deliver for you. Contact us at sponsorships at vocfb.com. Again, that is sponsorships at vocfb.com today. Well, everybody, if you haven't already, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and also subscribe to the Voice of College Football main channel, and so you can see everything that we have here with Mark Rogers offers here on the network. Again, we have a lot of great channels here, whether it be Texas, North Carolina, Team Up North, my boy John, and TJ and Johnny. Also, we have Oregon, Texas. Again, we have it all right here for you. Oklahoma, Nebraska, friends, family, and foes, all welcome here. So I want to talk about this real quick. James Laurinaitis was talking about the Buckeyes linebackers. This is another linebacker unit I'm really bullish on. I think that behind Georgia, Ohio State might have the best linebacker room in the country. And of course, before any Texas fan says anything, yes, I do believe Texas has the number 1 guy at linebacker. But in terms of just the full room, I think that Ohio State right now is just right up there. And a lot of that has to do with the recruiting prowess of James Laurinaitis and his ability to develop these guys. But he, talked about Arvell, said that he's playing fast, said that his diagnosing ability has sped up. He talked about how when it comes to Arvell, who, by the way, freaky athlete, 6'4", 243 pounds, same as Sonny Styles. And he talked about, after his freshman year, when they thought he might not be able to play the Mike linebacker, and they thought they might move him to edge rusher. And he, banged the table to keep him there. So he runs a linebacker. And now, the fruits of his labor have paid off. And he said the same thing about Sonny when he did this. He banged on the table for Sonny Styles, moving from safety to linebacker. And you look at what it is now, and we're going to talk about this a little bit with Jay Button, what he had to say about the linebackers of the team, and the rest of the team. But James, he's talked about the linebackers in the spring game. He said that he believes that Sonny Styles and Arvell Reese are the most athletic linebacker duo in the country. Me personally, I agree with him. And so I glad to see that Arvell, he's progressed as a football player, and now that he's already sideline to sideline as an athlete, and now him being able to diagnose better on the field. Can't wait to see this. I mean, I truly believe he has a better upside than Sonny, and Sonny's going to be a really good linebacker. Again, I could be wrong. Sonny's first year playing linebacker, he was second team all conference. So we'll see what happens, but I'm really excited to see what Arvell looks like. Also talk about Peyton Pierce, who, by the way, everybody, James Laurinaitis said that Arvell Reese, Sonny Styles, and Peyton Pierce, they're right here with each other. He said Peyton Pierce is a starter on this team. He might not be on the field first, but he's still a starter. He's going to be on the field a lot. Said that he's a downhill, physical, has tough guy leadership. Said that, it's surprising when he leaves the practice that he doesn't have any chips off of his face mask. But I think it says a lot that he said that Peyton Pierce is on the same level as a player as Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles. And I think whether they need to move Arvell sometimes because he is versatile, he can play on the edge, or whether they do that with Sonny and they bring Peyton Pierce on the field. I can't wait to see what Peyton Pierce looks like this season on the field. Peyton Pierce, I think he was a top 15 linebacker out of high school, so highly talented also. So I'm really excited to see what he says. Also, TJ Alford talked about him, said that he's a freaky player also. He just still has to learn the position, but said that he's on his way to becoming a really good player at Ohio State. Talk about Riley Pettyjohn, said that as a player, he's studying better. Say he was having a strong fall camp, and we should all expect to see him on the field, whether it be at some point during the game or on special teams. And again, I think it's really important that a player gets on special teams. I think special teams, it builds character. I think it does, and it allows you. It allows you to learn how to play fast on special teams. You do need to know how to read where players are going on there. But yeah, sometimes Riley Pettyjohn is going to be one of those guys like Devin Sanchez. It's going to be hard to keep him off the field. So really happy about that. Another quick thing I want to talk about here: Paul Feinbaum. They're talking about the AP poll today. Of course, on ESP on ESECPN, it wouldn't be them if they didn't push the SEC propaganda. He said that Ohio State was ranked too high at 3. And we're gonna talk about. You know what? Let's talk about it now since we're here. Let's talk about. Come here, Kilo. Come here, buddy. Sorry, my dog's growling. Come here, buddy. Come here, buddy. I'll pet you while I'm doing this. And Kilo says hi, everybody. He's half pit, half boxer. He's a good dog, though. But let's talk about the AP Top 25. So you have it right here. Texas at number 1. Ohio State, of course, you see at number 3. A few other notable Big Ten teams. Oregon at 7. Illinois at 12. The Wolverines at 14. And the Hoosiers of Indiana at 20. Now, we talked about this last time when the coaches poll came out. We said, it looks like it could be a top 2 matchup for the Buckeyes and the Longhorns. But as we thought it might happen, Penn State moved up to number 2, which I think they should be. I do think that Penn State should have been either number 1 or number 2 coming to this season. Clemson at number 4. I do think Clemson would have an argument to be a top 3 team also, or top 4 team. I'm sorry, top 3 team, top 2 team. I really like Clemson this year. Of course, I told you guys before. I think they're probably going to win. I think they're going to win the championship this season. Georgia at 5. The Irish of Notre Dame at 6. Alabama at 8. LSU at 9. And the Hurricanes at 10. Now, me personally, do I think Miami should be at 10? No. I also don't think LSU should be at number 9. Also, tell me who you guys think is too high and too low. Arizona State, I personally would have had at number 10. Um, I think South Carolina. I think South Carolina. But I'm kind of backing off of them a little bit right now. But I do love Lenore Sellers, and I do love Beamer, head coach there. And so yeah, I'm not sure. I think they're one of those teams that I look at them. I'm like, could I put them higher? Maybe not. But could I put them lower? No. Florida at 15, they might be ranked a little bit high, but I am bullish on the Florida Gators. I do think that Florida is going to have a really good defense this year, a really good run game. Also, DJ Lagway, I think, is one of the biggest talents in college football. I wouldn't be surprised if DJ Lagway by the end of this season was looked at as the best quarterback in the sport. SMU, they could fall all the way the hell out, all the way the hell out. I'm not there with them. When I look at Kansas State, I think Oklahoma should be ahead of Kansas State and SMU and Florida, actually. I think Texas A&M could be higher than them. I think Indiana should be ranked higher than Kansas State. I think Ole Miss could possibly do the same. Iowa State also. Tennessee, they shouldn't be ranked, and I don't think Boise State should be ranked. I look at some of the teams below there. I think USC would have an argument of being a top 25 team. I think Nebraska could. I think Nebraska is going to have a really good defense this season. I do think when you look at Dylan Raiola, and shout out to RJ. He talked about this. And as much as I love Lagway, he gets the love and the praise that he deserves as a talent. Last year, Dylan Raiola had a better year than him. He did. And I think that Dylan Raiola is not getting the love and the praise that he deserves. And I think Dylan Raiola is in for a big year this upcoming season. And I honestly, I can't wait to see what the Cornhuskers look like. I really can't. I think the Cornhuskers have a chance to be a dark horse playoff team. I think they can go from anywhere between 7 to 10 wins this upcoming season. I really like what they have cooking there. And I think that they should have been ranked. So yeah, I think Boise State's ranked too high. I think Tennessee's ranked too high. Sit down, Key. I think that I think Kansas State's entirely ranked too high. SMU is entirely ranked too high. Have no idea why they're up there. And then I would say LSU and Miami just move a couple spots down. By the way, if you look at the Wolverines at 14, I think here I'll say this. I think that Florida should be ranked ahead of them. I personally would have Oklahoma ranked ahead of them, but that's when I would stop. South Carolina, I would have them there simply because I think that they've proven more. I think that Illinois is simply ahead of where they are because they bring back, I think, 86% of the production from last season, which is the highest in college football. But but look, all this is going to work itself out. It's all going to work itself out. And so I think by the end of the season, I think the top 4 personally will look that way. I do think Texas, Penn State, depending on I think Texas, Penn State, Ohio State, and Clemson are going to be the top 4 teams by the end of the season. I truly, truly believe that. Shout out to Don B. He sends the $1.99 again, man. Thank you for the super chat. Says, why isn't the media respecting OSU? I'm not sure. And let's be honest here. I saw Greg McElroy had Ohio State at 7 or 8. Not sure about that. Not sure why he had them there. Again, a little bit more SEC bias in his rankings also. Listen, ESPN is going to ESPN. When I say ESECPN, they're going to do what they do, Don, and we all know that. And I think that by the way, the SEC this year, the AP poll, the SEC broke the record for the conference of the most teams in there. It's 10 in there. And again, like when I look at teams like Tennessee, they should not be ranked there. Ole Miss, we still got to see it with their team. They're a transfer portal team. So we have no idea what they look like this upcoming season. So Ole Miss probably shouldn't be ranked that high either. Again, I do think Oklahoma should be ranked there. Texas A&M, one of those teams that has a lot of potential, but they haven't shown anything in the last few years on why they should be top 25. They haven't. So yeah, I do think there's some teams in there from the SEC that probably shouldn't be ranked. And at the worst, they're just ranked too high. Yeah. So again, when it comes to Ohio State, I think they're one of those teams that are fun to hate on. I think Ohio State, with Nick Saban gone, I think Ohio State once again is the most hated team in college football, and understandably why. I mean, we are. I mean, we have the highest win percentage in college football history. I mean, outside of Bama, no other program can really say a doggone thing to us because all we do is win. Shout out to DJ Khaled. So I'm with you, Don. It's a weird hate. It's a weird hate. Exactly, Richie. Exactly. But let him sleep. Let him sleep. I think at this point, man, we shouldn't care about what other people think about our Buckeyes. I think that as long as they're talking about us, who cares? By the way, shout out to Tree. Good to see you in here. Aaron, also see you in there. Also, man, thank you for joining the show today. So let's move on to our last topic here. Jake Butt, ex Michigan player. I think Jake Butt's actually the greatest tight end in the Wolverines history. I think that I think he's a great mind when it comes to football. I love hearing. I actually love hearing him call games. In my personal opinion, I think he's top 5 right now when it comes to talking the sport. But let's get into what he had to say about the Buckeyes. And by the way, everybody, if you haven't already, please go ahead and like the video. And also, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Make sure you share the channel with all of your friends, family, or foes, and make sure that you are able to check out what we have here at the Voice of College Football Network, again, with all the teams that we have. And make sure you also check out the other shows that we have with Mark on the channel on Wednesdays at 11. Also, check out Cleve, Mike, and Terry on Wednesdays at 7:30 on the world famous Buckeye show, again every Wednesday at 7:30. And make sure you join the call-in show. And Mike, if you see this and if you're in here, let me know. Maybe if you join again, man, because that was fun with you, man. That was fun. I don't like always doing it by myself, so yeah, make sure you do it. But yeah, make sure you already hit the like button, everybody. So Jake Butt, again, has some glowing things to say about the Buckeyes, and a lot of them I'm not surprised by, but I want to read these to you all. So let's start with the quarterback competition. He said the QB battle features different guys. Julian, more of a pure passer, felt like he was more accurate and technical operating the offense. Lincoln is a bigger, stronger athlete. When he pulled when he pulled the ball and read options, you get to see a special. I'm gonna say that again. You get to see a special athlete in space. Maybe we see both because of complementary skills, ? Both getting reps with the ones, not concerned about that position. Either guy will be fine. So, and this is why, this week I posted this and I said, shout out to Heather, one of the Buckeye fans on X I frequently talk to. And I said, I do think that some of the concerns for this Ohio State team are being overblown. I think it has more to do with national media and also rival fans who want us to have, be overly concerned about the team. I haven't been overly concerned about Ohio State since 2011, and all that had to do with the sanctions, injuries, and a freshman quarterback. Shout out to Braxton Miller, legend, Ohio legend, actually. So really, but I'm really happy to hear that. I mean, I'm not surprised to hear about Julian. Coming out of high school, he was highly touted. Nick Saban handpicked him. Has a quick release, hyper accurate quarterback coming out of high school, which he's known as. So not surprised, but I've always known, we've always known that Lincoln is an athlete. He batted 500 in high school, then he won the home run derby for the team this offseason before his fall camp started. But when he gets in open space, you see a special athlete. That's one of the reasons why I've been big on not trying to push a narrative on who I think is going to be the quarterback or who I think should be the quarterback. I can care less about who the quarterback is. Just win games, beat the team up north, win the conference, and win a championship. That's what I care about, and operate the offense at a high peak. And but one of the reasons why I've been high on talking about Lincoln is that because I do think that he does bring a different skill set to the team that we haven't seen. I mean, we had it last year with Will to an extent, but Will's not a special type of athlete in space, and I think that, uh, and of course, not saying that he's Justin Fields, but when you look back at what that offense looked like with Justin Fields, man, it was something to behold. We could pass the ball around the field. It wasn't as efficient. It was still efficient, but it wasn't as efficient as we had with C.J. Stroud or even with Will Howard. But a lot of that had to do with the Chip Kelly offensive scheme. But that run game was insane because he has the special ability to get out in space and run the ball. Now, there is a nasty narrative out there that Lincoln Keenhold, and I'm even sorry that Julian Sand can't run the ball, which is completely saying like he's a statue in the in the in the pocket, which he's not. I mean, Julian can get out there. Not saying that he's just some special runner, but he can get out there and move the chains with his legs also. So really cool to hear about that. And again, I'm really excited. I really hope that we name a starter by the end of this week. I think we should name a starter by the end of this week because next week we had to get that game prep ready for Texas. So next comment Jake Butt had was about the running backs. He said running backs like I don't know why he said it like this, but RB looks like a healthy rotation. CJ Donaldson reminds me of Carlos Hyde. Physical, strong, powerful. And now that he's lost some weight, he's quicker. The room has multiple ball players they'll utilize. I talked about this on X actually this last week. I said I think CJ Donaldson is one of the most underrated players in the Big Ten right now. Back to back 700. He split carries while he was at West Virginia, but back to back 700 plus yards in seasons there. His time at West Virginia, and I feel like the same thing with Quinshon Judkins. This is going to be the best offensive line that CJ Donaldson has ever played with, ever. And now that he's gotten down, I think it was about 240 coming out of West Virginia. Now he's down to 230 range. And also, I mean, he was a guy that played wide receiver in high school. Even Brandon Ennis and Jeremiah talk about how good he was at that actually in South Florida in Dade County. But I think when you look at his size, and then when you look back at the spring game, and of course, like I always say, you can only take so much out of a spring game. But when you look at the spring game and you saw how quickly he hit that hole and the burst that he had to get to the second and third level, and again, everybody with how athletic and versatile this offensive line can be, I think there's a really good chance that this not just CJ Donaldson, but this whole running back unit, when you talk about the 3 deep with Bo Jackson and James Peoples, I think there's a really good chance that these guys are going to make a lot of explosive. We're going to get a lot of explosive plays, so 10 plus yards out of the backfield. And that, I'm gonna be honest with you, and that includes like if he ever gets some reps out there running back with Turbo Rogers. I feel the same about him. I think there's a lot of good that can come out of this running back unit, and I think Jay Butts hit the nail on the head. This running back unit, again, one of the most underrated units in college football right now. And so right now, everybody, let's keep it a secret. It's only me and you all that know this. Ohio State running back situation is going to be fine. And let's be honest here, Ohio State hasn't had to worry about running backs in a very long time. And to be honest with you, in my lifetime, I don't think we've ever had to worry about that. So yeah, really cool to see that those guys are looking really explosive. Then let's get to the linebackers. He says most athletic group Ohio State's had. Says defensively, I'll start with the LBs. Most athletic group Ohio State has had. Styles and Reese are as freaky as they come and give you so much flexibility as they can cover sideline to sideline and hang with tight ends. Again, everybody, I think there's a really good chance that between Texas, Georgia, and Ohio State, that Ohio State might have the best linebacker duo in college football. I mean, you're talking about 2 6'4", 240-pound guys, sideline to sideline. And Arvell, by the way, I mean he's a mean street type of guy. He can hit the hole really hard when got in the run game. when you're trying to go against to read the gaps and where running backs are coming. He hits holes hard. You look at a guy like Sonny Styles. Sonny hit what number 2 on sacks last season? It was 6. I can't wait to see what these guys do again. And Peyton Pierce. If you guys weren't here earlier, and by the way, if you missed any of the show, everybody, Amazon, Spotify, or Apple, you can go check out the show there. Also, audio for the audio. Listen while you work out, or you're just on the road, or if you're at work. But Peyton Pierce is right there with them. James Laurinaitis says like he has 3 start caliber guys. And he thinks that Peyton Pierce is right there with them. So yeah, that really cool to hear that. Not surprised at all. And then here's him on downs. Says Downs is a 2-for-1 special, meaning his instincts, IQ, and closing speed effectively give you an additional defender on the field. He can drop into coverage, leaving the flat wide open, and then close and tackle the flat before any yak. Nothing new there. Nothing new there. We know what Caleb Downs is. Best defensive player in college football. No bones about it. Don't care what anyone else has to say. Argue with a wall. Don't care. Again, and Ryan Day talked about this earlier today also about how when it comes to the other younger safeties, he's giving them a lot of confidence to do what they do because they know that he's going to have them in the right position, have them where they need to be. I've said it plenty of times on here that one of the reasons that I think when it comes to this defense this season, what helps Matt Patricia is having a guy like Caleb Downs, who is seen as one of the smartest, if not the smartest defensive player in college football. So yeah, really excited to hear that again. Listen, man, Caleb Downs is Caleb Downs. What else can you say about him? The guy is as good as it gets. And by the way, I mean, if he goes out there and he's again another consensus first team All-American, I think he's right up there with Mike Dawson, having a laying claim to that spot as the best safety to ever come out of Ohio State. So, and by the way, because Mike Dawson never won the best defensive back of the year award in college football. So, I mean, if he's able to do that, that's going to be really cool. And then this right here, everybody, is what really shocked me. He said, D-line is the key. I would put their floor as a top 5 defensive line. The question will be the ceiling. Can they dominate and control teams the way last year's unit did? They have the size and physical attributes. Top 5, everybody. Top 5 is the floor. Like, was I expecting that? No. I really wasn't. Again, when you look at the first 4, right? Edric Houston, Tatum McDonald, Georgia Boys, Georgia Dogs, no UGA. Those guys are in the middle. The question is what's behind them. When it comes to the edge position, you're talking Kenyatta Jackson Jr., best kept secret for 3 years in college football. I can't wait to see what he does this season. Then you have Bo Atkinson out of North Carolina. I think that Bo has a lot of ability. And I believe that being with Larry Johnson, we're going to see a different type of player this year than we would have seen in any of his highlights or game film out of last season. Guys like C.J. Hicks, I think he's just a freak athlete. I think he's going to show a lot of people what he can do. Curry, another guy that's been in the program for a long time, senior this season. I've been a big fan of him. Every time he's been on the field, he's made plays, whether that be on special teams or in the times that he's been able to get on the field in the defensive end spot and spot time for whether it be JTT or Jack Sawyer. So look, I'm a fan. I still gotta see it, of course, just as a person. I gotta see it. But I'm gonna take what he says to the bank. Jay Butt said, there's nothing to worry about there. And I'm not surprised by that because at the end of the day, as much people want to get on Larry Johnson for recruiting, his proof of concept matters more than recruiting. And his proof of concept has shown that he can develop guys to go out there and get the best out of them. And I think with Matt Patricia's system coming out of what we have with Jim Knowles, we're not going to be playing contain as much. And I think that's going to allow those defensive linemen to go and attack more often than we've seen over the last few years. So overall, he said, last thing that stood out is the competition. You have NFL level veterans competing against your young talent. That forces the young talent to be at their best every day. That's how you compete and reload every year, which we all know Ohio State does. Program is in a really good place, and that's credit to Ryan Day. So for anyone out there that has anything to say about Ryan Day, third base, screw you, don't care. This guy has shown how to take a high level program and then take it over and above, which he's done. Again, the program is better. This program is in a better spot than it was at the end of Urban Meyer's era, and that's a fact. And I'm really confident that when you look at this year's team and you look at how this team has no complacency, this team is going to be ready to go week one. They're going to be ready to go. They've made like adding Boyer to the staff. They made additions to the staff. Adding Tyler Bowen, a guy that was out of Penn State, has had run game experience coming out of Penn State. And then Brian Hartline, he's the only guy who's never been a coordinator, at least in terms of outside of like some of the defensive guys like James Laurinaitis, but and OG Walt. But again, Ryan Day has recruited at a high level, he's coached at a high level, and he's put up guardrails on this team so that if something goes wrong, he's got something to alleviate it. So again, shout out to Jay Butt, again, one of the best in the business. I really hope that we have him call one of our games. I actually love hearing him talk about a game of football. But again, everybody, if you haven't already, please like the video, share it, subscribe to it so other people can subscribe also. Thank you again for joining here. Make sure you join the World Famous Buckeye Show 7:30 on Wednesday, the call-in show Thursday at 7 p.m. And as always, OH, IO.